What happens when we die? It's probably one of the biggest questions we ever ask ourselves. And for thousands of years, one answer has been incredibly compelling: the idea that we come back. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating and mysterious concept of reincarnation.
So let's just start with a huge question right off the bat. Is this life, the one you're living right now, your only shot? Or is it possible that it's just one chapter in a much, much longer story? That's really the question at the heart of everything we're about to get into. So, an idea this massive, where do you even start? Well, I think it makes sense to start with the arguments for it. What makes the idea of coming back so powerful that it's captivated people for literally millennia? Well, first off, you've got the sheer weight of history on its side. This is not some new age fad that popped up recently. The belief in reincarnation has roots that go incredibly deep into our shared human story.
I mean, just look at how widespread this is. For thousands and thousands of years, it's been a foundational belief in huge world religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. So this isn't some fringe idea we're talking about. For billions of people on this planet, it's a fundamental truth of existence.
Okay, so beyond just history, there's a really interesting philosophical argument. And it basically suggests that maybe modern science has been thinking about consciousness all wrong. What if your awareness isn't just a side effect of your brain?
The idea here is that consciousness could be a fundamental part of the universe itself, just like gravity or space or time. And if that's true, then it suddenly seems plausible that this stream of awareness, what some might call a soul, doesn't just, switch off when the body dies.
But for a lot of people, the most powerful evidence isn't historical or philosophical at all. It's deeply personal. It's found in their own lives or in the incredible stories of others.
We've all heard these stories, right? People, often very young children, who claim to have these shockingly vivid and detailed memories of a life they've never lived. Or maybe you've felt it yourself, that overwhelming feeling of déjà vu when you visit a new place. A feeling so strong it's almost like a memory. These are powerful, personal accounts that really keep the idea of past lives in the conversation.
So what's the engine that drives this whole cycle? In many of these traditions, the answer is karma. The core idea is that the actions you take in this life create a kind of cosmic ripple effect, and that energy directly shapes the kind of life you'll be born into next. It's a sort of universal system of cause and effect, playing out across countless lifetimes.
Okay, so that's a pretty strong case for reincarnation. But any good investigation has to look at the whole picture. So let's flip the coin. Let's look at the arguments against it, where skepticism and modern science start asking some really tough questions.
And the first major hurdle, well, it comes straight from the world of biology. The simple mechanics of how a soul could actually transfer from one body to another, that's a huge scientific challenge.
Just think about it for a second. The human body is this ridiculously complex biological machine. Our personalities, our memories, our sense of who we are, it's all deeply connected to the specific, unique wiring of our brains. So how could some kind of non-physical soul or consciousness just unplug from one system and plug into a brand new one? It seems to go against everything we understand about biology.
And that biological problem leads us to what many people see as the biggest roadblock of all. Despite all the stories, all the beliefs, there's just a complete lack of hard, verifiable proof. From a scientific point of view, this is the bottom line. There's just no empirical evidence. And what about all those compelling personal stories? Well, researchers have other potential explanations. Maybe a child was influenced by stories they overheard, or that intense déjà vu feeling is just a little trick of the brain's memory system. Without proof you can test, reincarnation stays firmly in the world of belief, not scientific fact.
And hey, even if you put science to the side for a minute, the idea itself creates a pretty tricky philosophical puzzle. It's a puzzle about identity. I mean, if you have absolutely no memory of being, say, a farmer in the 16th century, then in what meaningful way is that farmer really you?
So here it is, the central conflict in a nutshell. On one side, you have thousands of years of tradition, profound philosophy, and these really compelling personal stories. And on the other side, you've got the hard limits of biology, a total lack of empirical evidence, and these fundamental questions about what makes you, well, you. Now, this whole debate might seem ancient, but what's really fascinating is that modern science is actually exploring the big questions right at the heart of it. Now, scientists aren't testing for reincarnation itself, but they are digging into the nature of consciousness and the self, and some of the stuff they're finding is pretty mind-bending.
Take neuroscience, for example.
Scientists are getting closer and closer to mapping the exact brain activity, the neural correlates, that light up whenever we have a conscious thought. They're tying our identity more and more closely to the physical stuff inside our skulls.
But then, you jump over to the seriously weird world of quantum physics, and you get ideas like non-locality. This is the bizarre but proven idea that two particles can be linked in such a way that what happens to one instantly affects the other, even if they're light years apart. Now, let me be crystal clear. This does not prove reincarnation, but it does make some people wonder if consciousness could operate on similar principles, existing beyond one single point in space.
And then there's this incredible field called epigenetics. Research here is showing that your ancestors' experiences, things like trauma or famine, can actually leave a chemical mark on your DNA that affects your life right now. It's not a memory in the traditional sense, but it is a way that the impact of a past life, in a way, is passed down biologically.
So, after exploring ancient beliefs, modern skepticism, and even a little quantum physics, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us right in the middle of a truly profound and still completely unsolved mystery.
You know, a quote from our source material really captures this perfectly. It says that while there's no real evidence, reincarnation remains so fascinating because it challenges our understanding of who we are. It forces us to ask the biggest questions.
At the end of the day, it's a concept that science can't prove is true, but it also can't definitively prove that it's false. It just remains one of the great open questions of being human.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. Just forget about reincarnation for a moment and think about this. If you strip away your physical body, your name, even your memories, what's left? If you are not just your body, what are you? Thanks for joining our exploration.